Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Making Money Personal podcast. I'm Liz, here with Terry.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about a really important topic today. It's the first episode of our year, right? Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
So we want to just kind of start out this year with a topic that is increasingly growing in relevance and importance in the world today. And it particularly impacts finances, but not even just finances, even more than that. It's identity theft. Right. And there are so many methods, strategies, tactics that thieves use to catch us off guard. And they try to steal our information and they try to steal our money. So what we really want to do is take this episode and really kind of drill into some specific examples of identity theft that, we can all be aware of to stop it from happening, and then provide some practical ideas and tips on how to avoid falling for these scams.
Right.
So we're just going to start off by, talking a little bit about like what identity theft is, the danger it poses, and just how it's increasing it's rising.
Right. Yeah. I think when I looked at your discussion guide, Liz, you had identified 4 particular areas. I think one was phone fraud, right? Email fraud, crypto scams, and AI scams. So I'm really excited to dig into all of that, bring more awareness to our listeners about all of those areas. There were some alarming reports that are, anytime that you do a quick Google search, you're going to be able to find overwhelming evidence of fraud and identity theft, and the impact on not only, those of us in the U.S., but internationally as well. So I had some statistics, if you don't mind me
Absolutely.
Reading those out, because I could make this stuff up, but it's probably better if we actually do a little bit of research. So in 2024, which we're just getting into 2026. So it does, it seems like, wow, that was 2 years ago. It really wasn't. It's like a year ago, right? And it does take some time.
And they're probably compiling 2025's numbers now.
100%. 100%. So this is the most recent data from the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, received over 1.13 million identity theft complaints, which is a jump, unfortunately, of 9.5% from the previous year. So definitely going up. Coupled with 2.6 million fraud complaints, total consumer losses reached $12.7 billion.
Yikes.
That's like...
Yikes.
Right?
That's all I can say. Like that's a lot of money.
Right.
Wow.
And then the FBI, their Internet Crime Complaint Center, reported a record 859,000 cybercrime complaints in 2024, with total losses soaring $16.6 billion, which is a 33% increase over the prior year.
Yikes.
So these are huge numbers, folks. And, it doesn't matter really to me. I guess it doesn't matter what your overall income level is, what your budget is. It's like everybody can be impacted,
Right.
Like people who are just starting off in their career, maybe not having a big income versus, people who are at the end of their career.
Right.
And it's all sad. Anytime that you hear about these, the fraud and the ID theft, it's all sad. I do feel like that maybe it's because of my age, where I'm at. I get particularly moved when I hear accounts of people who are in retirement and they have lost everything.
Yeah.
And I listen to a financial podcast almost every day. People call in and they've been taken for a ride by, whether it's their identity has been taken over or just fraud in general, where they've committed to, do an investment and they've invested, all of their savings, all of their retirement.
Yeah.
The other day I just listened, it's a little bit off topic, but I listened to an account where a woman called in. She had a great relationship with her brother. She's in retirement age. So she's probably like 65, between 65 and 68, I think. And, she and her brother, great siblings over all of the years. She had an investment opportunity. She mentioned it to her brother. He invested $50,000. She lost over $270,000 of her savings. So this is her retirement, right? No. So her savings is gone. And now the brother is like, I need my $50,000 back. So it's like, not only was she taken for a ride, but
he was too.
The sibling impact on that as well. And she's devastated, as and it's very sad.
Yeah, there's so many people out there willing to take advantage of others.
Oh, 100%.
And they try to find those little lapses in knowledge or understanding, and then they really exploit that. So that's one of the other reasons why we're bringing this up, is because it's just so important to talk about. And it's important to talk about over and over and over again, because fraud is always changing. There's always new tactics. And so people are constantly getting off guard with these schemes.
Right. Anytime. And this is just from my own personal, again, I think because of my life experience, I'm starting to recognize that anytime there is any type of tragedy, there will be a scam to follow shortly after. And you have to be so diligent and vigilant about being aware of that. Yes, something tragic happened, and, people want to donate money, and they'll, funds are, these funds are set up where you can donate in, financial portals or whatever, but be very, very careful about where you're donating to and stuff
That's
like
a really good point. It's so true. And even so, a couple things that along that line is like, a crisis for sure. Any type of crisis, environmental or like physical or whatever. But also, like, almost going back to the investment option, too good to be true, too. Right. A lot of times if something just sounds like it's too good to be true, or they're promising extensive returns, be extra cautious about stuff like that, because those are those hooks,
Right.
So
and to your point, I will say this about the financial fraud. If you work with a financial advisor, never go into those too good to be true situations without talking to a financial advisor, or, just try and get, do your own research, but also don't rely what's out on the internet.
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
So
it's so funny. I've become a less trusting person these days. I'm almost skeptical of everything now. Right. It's like if I see an offer in my email, I stop. I'm like, is it really true? Whether it's true or not, and it probably is.
You can't even with all the AI stuff. You can't you can't rely on phone calls because of. I mean, we're going to get into that in a little bit. You can't rely on video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't
text messages too. Sometimes,
nothing.
So it's
like you everywhere.
That's why this is so important.
Right.
Because we really, really, really need to know where this information is coming from before we take any action on anything.
100%.
So should we just go right into some of the specific examples?
Well, the only other one that I would want to mention is there is a surge also in credit card.
Yes.
A couple of just one more, and then we can just jump right in if you want. Yep. But credit card and new account fraud continuing to dominate in 2024. Credit card misuse accounted for 43.9% of identity theft reports, and then the AARP research revealed that in 2024, Americans lost $47 billion due to identity fraud and related scams, impacting 18 million individuals. With traditional fraud, they estimated at $27 billion, and scam-driven theft at $20 billion, and those are both rising sharply.
Yeah.
According to the AARP.org and their research.
That actually caused me to think about one other thing I want to add to that is, we're kind of covering specifically in this episode things we can do to stop fraud from happening, but sometimes breaches happen completely outside 100%. Of our control. So this credit card stat reminds me that, databases do get hacked and information does get leaked. And so there are instances where we are simply just the victims in that. So vigilance, staying on top of your card information, your login and password information. I don't know if you heard last year there was a big breach in Meta's databases and others. So they were really urging people to go in and change their logins because logins and passwords got stolen. So it's like when you hear about these breaches and stuff like that, take the due diligence, make those changes, because there's likely someone out there that might have your credit card number, and they might start using that. In fact, it's happened to me, and I'll go into that a little later. But
are you going to tell a personal story?
I'll tell a personal story, but it comes in towards the end.
Sad that you have to tell the personal story.
I know. Fortunately, it wasn't detrimental, but it was something that I learned a lesson on. So, okay, so let's go into just some of the top fraud tactics that people are falling for these days. So the first one we want to highlight is phone fraud. And this in particular, we're talking about like phone calls, but same applies to text messages, But basically what's been happening is a lot of people have been getting phone calls from someone impersonating their bank, saying, we're from this bank, and your bank, and we see fraud on your account. So through that alarming nature, the individual who receives the phone call tends to think, okay, well, what do I need to do to fix this? And then the scammer will usually either walk them through a process or somehow get a hold of their login information. So this one, I personally know someone who's fallen for this. Yeah. And they had someone steal a bunch of money from their account. Mm-hmm. But we're seeing it from a credit union standpoint. We're seeing stuff like this hit the environment.
Right.
So.
And it's exactly as you mentioned, Liz. They'll call our members, and it's not just Triangle Credit Union. It's there's actually, you can see a wave. Yes. And so locally, the people who do monitor that for us will literally see a wave from credit union to credit union in the area, financial institution to financial institution. And so we know kind of like when it's our turn, and we try and do alerts on our website, do alerts on our own online and mobile banking. But it's exactly as you described, where they'll get a phone call and they'll say that they're from Triangle's fraud center, and that there has been some type of indication that there has been fraud on their account. And can they log in to their online or mobile banking, get a code, share the code with them? And I would just say, if for anybody who is a Triangle member, please do never give out any codes to anybody that's on the phone with you. It's just not our practice. We don't do anything like that. Nor do most other financial banks. So, it's like, and a lot of times I do feel like, and I know that this is true, when we send a code, there's almost like a disclaimer that says, do not share this code with anyone. With anybody. Right? But I do feel like that people, they jump over that because there's a sense of urgency. And whenever there's a sense of urgency, that's when you really have to stop and say, what is happening here? Like, take a step back, because the scammers are trying to cause that sense of urgency. They want you to respond quickly without thinking, and just don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't fall for it. If you get a phone call from someone who is claiming to be from a fraud department, particularly bank, just hang up. The thing we want to tell everyone to do is, if you're concerned, as most of us would be, hang up and call directly. So go to a trusted website, go to the website, or in our case, you could go to a branch, talk to someone at a branch, but you initiate that. Don't let them initiate it.
Right.
So that's one of the ways to kind of avoid that one. And as Terry said, don't get alarmed. It's very natural to freak out, if we hear that, we've seen fraudulent transactions and something needs to be done about it. And you're like, oh my gosh, something's been stolen. But just calm, don't panic, because that's what they want you to do.
Right. And we do have a local number. All banks have local numbers. You can call in that way, or you could even go into through online or mobile banking. We have live chat through our contact center, and it's just a quick, almost like a quick text message, if you will. It's an email, but it'll be like, someone just contacted me, and then we, as an institution, we can just kind of monitor the situation as well, for your own protection. Yeah. So, do we want to take a quick break?
Yeah, we can take a break, and then we'll come back to cover the rest of our topics.
I know, right? I'm like, we could go on and on. Okay, but we probably need to take a break. You need to listen. You need to kind of process everything we said.
Okay, we'll take a break now, and then we'll be back after a word from the sponsor.
Okay.
Ring in the new year with a special refinance offer at Triangle Credit Union. Start 2026 with a new low auto refinance as low as 4.99% APR. Refinance your ride to free up more cash for new goals or exciting adventures. Don't wait. This special offer won't last. Visit trianglecu.org or call 603-889-2470.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for listening in to this episode. We're going to continue on with our discussion of some of the top fraud trends that you should probably be aware of. Mm-hmm. So we've already covered like phone fraud, right? Phone calls and bank impersonation scams. The next one we want to talk about is email fraud. Very big, very common, particularly phishing tactics, which is when they disguise an email to look like a legitimate company. I've seen these personally with PayPal. I've gotten a lot of PayPal emails that aren't really from PayPal. So that's an extremely common one. And again, to go off of what we had mentioned prior, a lot of times they're urgent. There's something that's happened with your account or something that needs to be resolved. So that's something we kind of want to discuss a little bit about. Mm-hmm. So emails. Have you ever received any fraudulent emails or phishing emails, Terry?
100%. But this goes back. I think the first time that it ever happened was probably, I know I'm dating myself, but probably 15 years ago. And it was PayPal, actually. Yes. And I am a big PayPal user, so I do stuff on eBay, and I got kind of hooked in, and but they were very good. PayPal was very good about working the situation through.
Oh, so you actually fell for the email?
Oh no, yeah, I did.
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
okay,
did. It was too good to be true. But
well,
fool me once, do not fool me.
Sometimes we have to learn the hard way, right?
Exactly. I will say this as well. It was not that it makes any difference. It was a small transaction, so that was kind of fortunate, I guess. Yeah. But
for me, I think for my particular PayPal story, it was an email saying that like money had been spent. Like it was like, this money has been spent. Check your account. Click the link to log in, right? And I was like, well, wait a second. Like, I'm very close to what I do on PayPal, so I didn't, A, remember that. But B, that's when I started looking. I was like, I looked at the logo. The logo was off. I checked I started looking for the signs, and man, were there signs. Yeah. So that's that thing about phishing that a lot of us need to train ourselves when it comes to email. Right. And our IT department is really good at keeping us up to date.
So good.
On the keys to discover, how when these emails are fraudulent. And so a lot of them are the email link itself, like the email address is usually a variation of the company.
Right.
But not like, it would be like mypaypal.com or something like that, and not paypal.com.
Or paypal.
US.com.
Yeah, something not .com. PayPal.
Net.
Yeah, .net.
.net.
I'm scamming you, .net. You know what I mean? Like, so you got to watch your URLs. You also have to watch that sense of urgency that it creates, right? That would be a big, big red flag. And don't, even if you open your email, don't click on anything, because as soon as you click on it, that's when they can, attach a virus or whatever.
Download malware, like all kinds of
stuff. So
another one that was for me very prevalent was Coinbase. For a while, I had a Coinbase account, and man, did they love to use Coinbase to try to get fraudulent phishing emails. So just again, any Coinbase users, be on guard, because some of these scammers, man, they make them look convincing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just beware of that. Actually, that's a great segue into the next one.
It is. I actually thought that you did it on purpose. That was really
not unintentional, but hey, it works. So the next one we're going to talk about is particularly crypto scams. There's a rise in people utilizing crypto and crypto platforms to try to create fraudulent, get people to fall for these scams. So basically, what's been happening is people will call individuals telling them they're from a bank or some financial institution, saying there's fraud, and to secure their account, they have to take money and upload it or load it into a Bitcoin ATM, and somehow that secures their funds. Unfortunately, some people have been falling for this because they believe the caller is legitimate, who's telling them, look, in order to secure your funds, bring them to this ATM and load it in there. And a simple search online will show you there's a couple videos actually circulating of instances where cops have been called to these locations to intervene. And typically they do tend to be people older, in probably on fixed incomes, going back to your first comment about individuals who are targeted. So that's been going on with these Bitcoin ATMs.
Yeah, I mean, Lizzie, according to ABC News, in 2025, Americans lost a record of $333 million to that scam.
Yeah, it's they get alarmed and alerted, and they think they need to secure their funds, and this is the way that they're told to do it. So yes, this one, I think that a lot more people should be keeping this in mind going into 2026, especially if that's in 2025. So think about, some of these scammers are probably thinking, "Oh, this one works, so let's try it." You know, you have another scenario here where there was, again, this is body cam footage of a police situation. An 80-year-old veteran tried to deposit $15,000 into a crypto ATM. So, and again, maybe you or I may not particularly fall for this, but we may know somebody who might be susceptible. Right. So just keep them aware, inform them. This is just something that everyone needs to be aware of.
Can I ask you a question? Because I don't deal with crypto. I know that you do. So is it traditionally is it a safe investment? Bitcoin for the most part. I mean, I know scams were going to arise.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk about it on an investment side, as that's extremely subjective. But there are safe platforms for crypto. There are safe crypto exchanges that are secure. Yeah. So that's the thing. The ATMs, I can't really speak too much on. I'm pretty sure they're secure enough, but I think what's happening is the scammer probably has some type of an account, and they're having the victim upload money to that account. Okay. So it's like, it's not that the Bitcoin ATM is the fraudulent piece. I think it's just the medium in which the person gets the cash converted. Yeah. So then they can take that crypto, and that's all. That's not as traceable in certain ways. So it's out there now.
Okay. That's valid. So do your research for sure.
Do your research. It's always safe to do your research, especially with crypto. And again, just to say this now, it is still an evolving world. So there's just, we're singling out Bitcoin, but this applies to a lot. I mean, you've got Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, like a lot of these cryptos, any of them, anything in the crypto world, just be on guard.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, the last one is, again, another one that we're probably going to be seeing a lot of development in, is particularly AI scams. So a lot of what we're seeing out there is voice cloning and deepfakes. A lot of the voice cloning is done by individuals, again, getting a phone call or something, sounding like a loved one, a child, a parent, someone, a friend even. And they clone the voice, and then they generate a message, usually some type of crisis or some type of issue, and they get the person on the phone to react. And it usually involves wanting them to transfer money. So in this particular note here, they can replicate a voice from as little as 3 seconds of audio. So when you think about this, many of us have probably uploaded videos to social media. We've posted stuff. So our voices are out there. So for some of these scammers, it's easy enough for them to take that and then use it against our friends and family.
Right.
So that's one of them. Have you ever experienced this one at all?
I have not, but I've read a few accounts about this, and it's really, I honestly kind of feel like that it's taken it to the next level. You know, with that whole voice recognition and exploitation. And it can be not only, you know, it's not just on a personal level. I know that CEOs have been targeted. And, good point. You know, so it's sad that we always have to think now, like, is there a possibility that this is fake? Right. That's how, I think that's...
Again, we're just not going to trust anybody in this world. So cynical. I feel like, Terry's going to call me on the phone. I'm going to be like, Terry, verify who you are. Give me your code. Give me the... What did we do 2 weekends ago? Like, yeah, stuff like that.
Exactly.
I do know a friend who fell. Well, she didn't fall for this, but she experienced this. She got a call from her daughter who had gotten in a car accident and needed some money. And she, I think for her, she was a little, the way her daughter had called her mom was what hinted her that something was off. So she managed to kind of detect it, and her husband was on the police force, so she contacted him. He was like, there is no accident, no history of an accident. Her daughter was in a college class at the time. So she experienced it, and it was scary, you know, for her to get a call from her daughter in distress freaked her out. Right. So those are those things that you may not think it can happen to you, but it could happen to you, right? Like, we're all susceptible to this. So again, what we've talked about before is that have some type of like code word or passphrase.
I was just thinking about that, Liz.
Is
Absolutely.
a good rule of thumb, you know,
Absolutely.
or ask something very specific that that person only that person would know.
Right.
So just thinking ahead, maybe have a conversation with your loved ones and just say, hey, look, if you ever get a call from me,
we need a PIN.
We need a special
PIN.
code to detect that, so you can be sure it's not actually me.
Right. And I will say too, you know, going back to what you had just said about this experience for this woman, which is very, very sad. There is a financial impact that we always, like, you know, just in sharing some of the statistics that we shared earlier, it's finance, because we're in finance, right? So that's how we measure things. But the emotional aspect and the trauma that follows not only a situation where you feel like that one of your loved ones has been in an accident and needs your help, and might be like on one side of the country and you're on the other, or even just the vulnerability, you know, like whenever if you fall or are susceptible to these type of tactics, the violation that comes with that, right? Yeah. Because, you know, innately, I'm not going to try and defraud people, right? That's just not who I am. So my expectation is that no one would want to do that to me, or no one would do it to me. And that's not how we have to operate now, which is so sad.
Right.
And the sad part is that, you know, there is a sense of violation when you're taken advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the cost is more than just money.
100%.
Right.
That's
absolutely
perfect. Right.
Yep. I know another instance, I could go on with these stories, but another story was a fake hostage situation. So like a husband had gotten a call from someone saying, we have your wife. And they're like, would give us $20,000 by this time or else, you know, whatever. And so, of course, he freaked out, you know, because they ended up giving him a piece of information specific, like about her, like, oh, well, something. I don't know if they'd gotten her call logs or something, but that little piece was like, oh my gosh, like this is something that threw him for a loop until he contacted the police. He was able to contact his wife at work, you know, stuff like that. So they're getting very sophisticated, very sophisticated.
Right. All I can tell you is don't try to do that with my husband.
I would never want to face the wrath of Bill.
No, I think it would be like, okay. No, I'm kidding.
Bill would fold on you. Ouch. I hope he doesn't listen to this episode. Okay, so we'll just head into our final segment here about, you know, what you can do to keep yourself positioned against these threats. So basically, what can we do, right? First of all is educate ourselves. You know, that's partly what we're doing with this episode. That's what we do with a lot of our resources here at Triangle is we do blog articles, we do money tips on fraud a lot. You know, we try to keep people abreast of what's currently happening in the world. So that's something is stay educated, because there's always something new you may not have considered, because they're always like 3 steps ahead. Doesn't it feel like that? It feels like fraudsters are always ahead of us.
Right.
So yeah, read up articles, stay on top of news. Don't ignore, like if you see a story about identity theft or something, I always watch it or read it just so I know what's happening. So yeah, follow groups on social media and YouTube, like news sources, even like you mentioned earlier, like AARP probably publishes resources on ongoing fraud. So just pay attention to that stuff.
Right. And even if you do get a phone call and you don't fall for it, it's probably worth a quick email to our contact center. And again, going through, there's a contact us on our website, and just to let them know that you have been, they reached out to you. You didn't fall for it, but you want to make them aware.
That's a great point. Absolutely. Of course. Yes. Okay, so the second one is set up notifications.
Yes.
Please set up notifications. This is going to go back to that story of what happened to me. One of my debit cards, not from Triangle, but from another institution, I had gone into my account and I'd noticed that I had like $300 or $400 was stolen through a process of transactions. And I was like, are you kidding me? And of course, you see the signs. They tried a 1 cent charge, and then the charge went through, and then they go for the bulk amount. And then I didn't have that much, so they tried again for a smaller amount. So you see the process as they're trying it. So what I did after that, and I was like, if I had notifications set up, I'd have known that this was being attempted. So I turned on the notifications for any time the card is charged, get a notification. So if I buy a Dunkin' Donuts coffee, I'm getting a text message that my debit card was used at Dunkin' Donuts. So that's one of them. And then the other one is to lock it. If you're not using it frequently enough, lock the card. And since I've done that, I knew there was fraud on it. The fraud was resolved. I got a new card. Well, I set up my new practices, right? Guess what happened about a month ago? I got a text message that my card was trying to be used on a bestbuy.com. That's what it was. Wow. It was like, your purchase of $250 was declined at Best Buy because your card is locked. So someone got a hold of the number again. Yeah. But because I had the notifications and because my card was locked, they didn't get my money.
That's great.
So that's what I'm saying, guys. Like, do it. Do it. I have it on my credit cards. I have it on my debit cards.
Right.
You don't want to get caught off guard.
Right.
I can't stress it enough. Because that stops it early. You don't have to go through the process of like, okay, now I got to get my money back. It's like, it's not going to happen in the first place.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah. So that's that. Oh, and another note on that too, warning signs, right? My friend just told me the other day, they logged into their online banking and they'd noticed that $3,000 had been withdrawn over time. So another important point, don't ignore your accounts. Right? Like, pay attention to them. Like, I think it's probably safe to say we have multiple bank accounts at multiple institutions, right? We tend to pick one we use the most, but what about the others?
Right.
Check on them, look into them, go in and review, because sometimes things can happen without you really noticing until it's too late.
Yeah, 100%.
And then, okay, so you want to cover the third one, Terry?
Yeah, sure. So protect yourself with identity theft protection tools like ID Protect. We have ID protection 24/7 through Better Checking, our Better Checking account. And some of the positive aspects of Better Checking is that you can look up basically it monitors your credit score and activity. So you have access to that information at your fingertips. And in the event that hopefully you never have to use it, but they do have case workers, or not case workers, but
like a case manager.
Yeah, like a case manager.
Yep.
And then they also offer fraud reimbursement. Again, hopefully you would never actually ever need the case management or the reimbursement program, but all of those are available through Better Checking. So definitely you can look at more information on that at triangleuniversity.org or our website. So.
Yeah. And one of the going back to the notification thing too, one of the things that Terry and I have talked about that we love the most about this product is we get that monthly email that either nothing's changed on your credit score or report, or something's changed.
Right.
And that's so valuable, because
it's the peace of mind when you see that no activity reported.
You're like, phew, okay. Yeah. And then you get one that says there is activity, and then you freak out for a second, log in, and you're like, okay, that was me.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's it's running, right? It's running in the background.
Right.
And the other cool thing too is there's the app now. We have the Better Checking app.
That's right.
Which is really easy to get into. For you, like your account, not for hackers. I just want to say that.
Clarification.
It's really easy to set up, but like you go right in, you can see your credit score right there. Like pull it right up. You can view your report right there. I just did this last night. I just checked it. I was like, oh, what's on my new report's available? Let me look through it, And so it showed me there were a couple changes, but they were changes I've made. So again, it's another way to just see what's going on with your credit score and report.
Right. Good point.
So yeah, can't stress it enough. Mm-hmm. Get identity protection of some sort. You don't want to be left without. It's like an insurance, kind of. Right. Kind of. Can I say that?
No, absolutely.
Against this. So yeah. Anyway. But that's anything else you want to add to that, or we're
no? I just have some closing, a closing note here that which I did think there was. It's not poetic; it's sad. It says that identity theft is not only growing; it's evolving, and I feel like that's something that we do have to be aware of. Cases and financial damages are climbing steadily. Crimes are becoming more sophisticated with AI, social engineering, and synthetic identities. Victims are facing severe financial and emotional fallout, and these revelations bring urgency today, and that's why we're sharing this. So I hope that this has been helpful and just causes our listeners to stop and think before they react. Don't get caught up in that urgency, but really and put measures in place so that there is some insurance, if you will, a little bit.
Right. Yeah. And people are here to help too. Right. There 100%. Are places to go to either keep it prevented, or if it does happen, and it happens a lot. Right. We have resources available, people available. You're not alone. There's plenty of things that can be done. So we just want everyone to stay aware of it, so they don't fall for it, or people they know don't fall for it. So,
all right, make it a great New Year.
Yeah, right? Exactly. It's great for the New Year resolution, right?
Yeah. Don't be alarmed.
just another thing to add to your list, Don't be alarmed, but be alarmed. No. Yeah, exactly. Just keep on guard, guys. We got a year ahead of us, and make it a good one.
Exactly.
Make it a safe one.
Yes. Right.
Okay. Right. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Making Money Personal podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email at tcupodcast@trianglecu.org or reach out to us on social media. Thank you to all of our subscribers, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new episodes or money tips. Thanks again for listening, and have a great day.